Hello, my name is Kane. This is Castle Tutelage, your home defense network. Pete with the Armory Channel came up with another good question to ask yourself about the state's gun laws and how repressive some of us are. And he deals more on the CCW side, so that's where I'm going to be going also. I'm going to be backing it up just a little bit about how do you purchase your first handgun when you're in the state of California. Well, California, there's a lot of do's and don'ts. You've got to jump through a lot of hoops to get to your Second Amendment right, and it becomes kind of like a modified privilege. Now, there is a test that you have to take. When you want a handgun, you have to take a test. And I'm just going to cover up some things. You get this little card, okay? So you take a written test, you get this little card, and you have to pay for this card. And it's good for 5 years. Okay, that's the first step of getting a handgun. And also, when you present them, when you're filling out the DOJ DRO's paperwork, you're also required to give them a bill with your name on it, some kind of utility bill. So they want to make sure that you live in this area. Okay. Also, within the state of California, there is a 10-day waiting period. Also in the state of California, there is a limit of how many handguns you can buy. You can only purchase one every 30 days. So in that sense, it's a very big pain in the butt. Okay. Now, as far as the CCW goes, it's not totally impossible to get a CCW in the state of California. And people are going, what? Are you serious? No, it's not impossible. In certain counties, it is impossible. LA County, for instance, there's very little chance that a normal person would ever be able to get a CCW permit. However, other counties, Orange County has gotten much better with their new sheriff. She does a very good job. I don't remember her name. Riverside County does a very good job. San Bernardino is kind of iffy. It's a huge county, but they also have a lot of meth labs in it, and I don't know if that has anything to do with it. But it really goes down to the county, or what county you live in. If you're in more of a rural county, yeah, it's going to be much easier to get your CCW compared to if you live in San Francisco or LA County, that kind of thing. So what you also need to do is you need to, well, let's back up. You need training, and the training is the handgun training part of it is kind of a joke, because all they really require is that you can pull the trigger, be able to manipulate your gun, and hit the entire silhouette at a given distance. There's going to be 3 different distances, and I'll just go through what it is. I don't see the distances here. I don't remember what the distances are, but part of what the California, when you're going through your CCW, part of what they require you to do is that you need to qualify for that particular handgun that you're using. So the California CCW only allows you to have 3 handguns, and it is correlated with the serial number. So you're going to have your primary weapon and your 2 secondary weapons. Your primary weapon, you have to shoot 200 rounds through it and qualify. The second and third handguns, you have to shoot 100 rounds through it and also qualify at the same time. This is a book that is part of the CCW training, and the first 8 hours, this right here, we went through all this, and a little bit on the second day. The second day is more qualifying with the handgun. So when you're dealing with your CCW for California, it's a 2-day ordeal, and this particular school was $180 plus ammunition on top of that, plus 400, if you're doing with 3 guns, plus 400 rounds of ammunition. Let's just do round about another $150. So you're really looking at between $300 and $350 on just getting the training and qualified. Now, when it comes to the Sheriff's Department and what they actually require, is they have it, and I'm just going to be reading right off the internet as far as my county goes. The good cause requirement. Now, the state of California requires that you have to have a good cause to get a CCW. And I guess the Second Amendment is not a good cause, but this is what they say. Applicants must be able to demonstrate the good cause exists in the issuance of a CCW permit. Good cause is defined as convincing elements of a clear and present danger of life or a great bodily harm to the applicant, his or her spouse, or a dependent child, which cannot be adequately dealt with existing law enforcement resources, and which danger cannot reasonably avoid by alternate measures, and which dangers would be significantly mitigated by an applicant's carrying of a concealed firearm. Now, the fun thing about that is that entire sentence in there. Now, this is dial 911 and die. Now, they're saying that the police if they can't protect you properly, you can get a CCW. But according to this book, there are several legal precedences and statutes where the police are not obligated to save your life. Just a couple of them. Hessler versus the City of San Jose. Sousa versus the City of Antioch. A couple of Supreme Court rulings. Morgan versus the County of Yuba. McCorkey versus the City of Los Angeles, and Mann versus the State of California. Those are all, if you want to go look at those up, fine, if you're in the State of California. But it's funny that part of being a CCW is that sentence is in good cause requirement. Part of it is that the police cannot protect you. And if that's true, you get a CCW. However, this book tells me specifically that under statute and law, the police department have no obligation to save your life. Now, let's go through the things that we need to do, and I'll kind of step this up again. What do you need to do? You're going to complete a CCW application. I need to call the sheriff's CCW unit to schedule an interview, and I must do it in person. The interview will determine your need at a good cause for the issuance of a CCW, and you must bring the following to the interview: the complete CCW law license application and CCW interview worksheet, a copy of your birth certificate or naturalization papers, a copy of your driver's license, copies of two of your most recent utility bills, and any other sufficient proof of full-time residency within the county in addition to your application. I like this one. Pete, I'm going to need a letter of character reference from you. 3 letters of character references, originals, they're not copies. Letters must contain the written name, address, and phone numbers where they can be reached during business hours. In the body of the letter, the writer should state that he or she is aware the applicant is applying for a CCW permit with the Riverside County Sheriff's Department. Letters from family members or employees are not acceptable. 2 copies of military discharge, your DD-214, if applicable. 2 recent passport photos. Okay, and if you are successful through that, then you'll need to get fingerprinting and then qualifying for your weapon. Complete the state mandatory firearm safety course. Now, the third step is something I did first. I just felt it prudent that I did the third step first. So I'm actually, I'm going through this process, and they only require 3. And what I will do, and I'll put out there, if you are willing to give me a character reference, PM me, and I will give you an address where you can send it to. It has to be original, and it has to have those qualifying things that is in there. If you want to send me a character reference, let me know, be a PM. I'll send you an address, and we can get this thing going. My interview is going to be here coming up, and it's going to be a lot of fun. Now, the fees on top of that, there's going to be, I think 3 sets of fees, and I don't have time to look them up right now, but there's also going to be about another $300 worth of fees to get this. So getting a CCW in the state of California, if you take the training and all the fees and stuff like that, it's really up to $600, somewhere in that area. So again, my name is Cade. This is Castle Tutelage, your home defense network. I hope this helped.